Yep. Any questions since last four sessions? If you have any questions related to Power BI, please feel free to ask. I'll have one more minute. We'll wait for one more minute and then let's get started. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. Silence is no. Okay.
Hi,
Um,
hi, Vikesh.
hey, Shri. Yeah, good.
I just have a small question. You discussed it before about the connectivity modes, like import,
Okay.
direct query, and the live connection. Do you have
Mhm.
any other connection like dual to?
Uh, what's the connection name which you said now? Can you please repeat it?
Dual,
Can you
DUAL, dual.
dual connection, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So composite model is called as a dual connection.
Sorry,
If
can
you
you
use a
repeat your voice?
combination of live connection or import or direct query or live connection. So it is nothing but a composite model. So that connection itself is called as a dual connection because we are connecting two different modes, right?
Okay,
So that connection composite model itself is called as a dual connection, dual connectivity.
okay. We
There
can
is no
combine
as such
both.
specific term. There is no as
Mhm.
such specific term called as dual connection. Just because we are connecting two different modes, that's the reason it is called as dual connection. But the ideal name used for it is composite model.
Okay. So how we can differentiate those connections, like when we can have a dual and when can we have import?
See, as I've said, it all depends on requirement. Usually, 90%, as I've said, people end up using import only. Now, if the individual feels that the data is very heavy for one of the data set and it is taking more time to load to Power BI, so what they'll do, they end up using direct query. But as I've said, in direct query, you will not get modeling option. Okay, you'll get modeling, but you'll not get the data change option. You cannot change the structure of the data. So that is one drawback. You cannot use all the DAX functions on that specific data set or a table. If you are calling any column, if you're doing some calculation with that columns in the direct query table, so there are limitations. So that limitations we need to handle.
For example, if we want to go for a direct query, my understanding the report need to be like every day. It need to get refreshed. So we can
In
at
case of
that point.
import also, you can keep everyday refresh. Refresh is not a part of it. Direct query is nothing but it will directly go back to the source rather than refreshing on Power BI engine, it will refresh directly from the source. So the load on the Power BI engine would be less because it is directly getting the information from the source. Whereas import is from the source, it will get the data every time to the Power BI engine. It will refresh it there and then it will start processing what we have done further. So everything can be handled. In case of import, complete Power BI has authority to handle the data. You can change, edit, whatever you want, you can do that.
Okay.
Any other question?
Uh, like in previous class, you told that there are many technologies like before Power BI, like Tableau or Link.
Mhm.
So I want to know if there were companies using these technologies previously, and now they are
Mhm.
turning into Power BI. So
Mhm.
what are the things they are doing to transform from one thing to another?
Okay. So that process is usually called as a migration um,
Okay.
from that existing BI tool or legacy BI tool to the Power BI. Now, anyways, the discussion has started. Let's take 5 minutes. I'll explain how that process works. Now, let's assume that there is a organization which had reports in MicroStrategy. Right? They had reports in MicroStrategy. Now, MicroStrategy is also a BI tool. Now, it's a legacy BI. Now, legacy means it does. I mean, I'm not saying that this tool is not at all used, but the importance of the tool has drastically came down. Somewhere, this MicroStrategy was the market leader prior to Power BI, prior to Tableau also. It was one of the oldest BI tool. It was one of the, you can say, this is the tool which came or which made the BI presence in the current market, or maybe since last 15 years, what BI market is. This is just because of the MicroStrategy. This was the very first tool which had a very big market presence. Now, if you want to migrate the MicroStrategy reports into Power BI, so how a process works. So Power BI is the current tool. Um, so migration will take place. So how migration will take place? See, a person who knows MicroStrategy, it would be added advantage for him. Why? Because if there are three reports, assume that it's all it would be assumption. So if assume that there are three reports. So out of these three reports, I want to migrate two reports, or maybe all three reports I want to migrate. Now, how the migration process starts? Usually, all three reports are not migrated in one single go. They will start with report one. They'll start with report one, first report. So, what they'll do, they'll understand the report. What is the requirement? What is being presented in that report? They'll understand the requirement, or they'll understand the use case of that report. So, if you know MicroStrategy, know in the sense, if you have a basic idea, if I open the Power BI, I know this is Power View. I can go to transform data. I know that is Power Query. If I use Map Visual, it is Power Map. If I use this Q&A, or if I double click here, this would be Power Q&A. So Power Pivot is again in the transform window. So I know the UI of Power BI. Similarly, if you know the UI of MicroStrategy, it would be added advantage. If you don't know MicroStrategy, I mean, it is not the case that person who is learning Power BI should also know MicroStrategy. Why? Because he needs to migrate. That is not the case. If you don't know MicroStrategy, then it's okay. What they'll do, they will give you steps to identify MicroStrategy UI. How to use MicroStrategy, they'll give you a basic idea. Any project, if you're migrating from MicroStrategy, if you're migrating from Tableau, they'll give you a basic idea. So with this basic idea, you have to go back. Our primary aim is to understand the report. So how do you understand the report? If you open the report, depending on the visuals, you can decide which visual is doing or which visual is justifying for what requirement. If you understand the visuals, you can go back and check the background data or some formulas given for it. So checking background data and formulas is where you require to identify what is MicroStrategy UI. Front-end visuals can be easily visualized. You can easily go back and see that. In order to check, background data, and formulas. So for this, you need the UI. You need to understand how you can go back and check the background data, how you can open the query editor in MicroStrategy. So there is no query editor in MicroStrategy. Somewhere it is different term. So how you go back and check that all steps are given. So you can go back and check that data. Once you get a basic idea, you can start importing that same data from wherever. Suppose if the MicroStrategy report is developed using SQL as a source, SQL as a data source, you can get that same data to the Power BI, right? So you can import SQL source or SQL data to Power BI. First thing is you need to connect that similar data source to the Power BI, which is connected to the legacy tool. Now, after you connect, once you go back and check the background data, you will get a basic idea whether there is any cleaning done in the MicroStrategy. See, MicroStrategy, you can do cleaning, you can write formulas, but it is very restricted. Whereas in case of Power BI, almost everything can be done without a single line of code, without a single line of SQL code, you can do everything in Power BI, but that cannot be done in MicroStrategy easily. So usually reports in MicroStrategy are straightforward. I mean, whatever they are doing, they do it in the SQL as a source. While getting the data itself, they'll do the filtering. So data and formulas is where you need to, I mean, this is the time consuming task. This is where you need to more precise. Understanding the report and use case is very easy. So if this step is done, you can easily create the visuals in Power BI. They'll only go report by report. Not all three reports are simultaneously done. Once the first report is completed, you need to share that report with the client or the person who is using that report. Once he gives you a go ahead, then you can take the second report. So the process is all planned. You need to understand the report and its use case, then go back and identify what are the steps to check the background data and formulas. This is the time consuming task. Once that is done, you can import that same data to the Power BI, utilize that same formulas or whatever you have done. See, formula used in MicroStrategy, the background would be same. Suppose you are calculating speed. Now, what is speed? Speed is equal to distance upon time. This is same. This formula is same. Maybe this formula is written in a different manner in MicroStrategy. But in case of Power BI, it is straightforward form. So MicroStrategy is somewhere a clumsy tool if you compare it with Power BI. Same goes with Tableau. Tableau is also a very clumsy tool. But the UI of Tableau is more powerful as compared to Power BI because the number of visuals in Tableau are maybe more interesting as compared to Power BI. But as I've said, it's a clumsy tool. You have to go back, you have to do multiple things in Tableau or maybe in MicroStrategy also. So that all steps, the background steps, identifying the formulas, that would be a planned process. So it is not a, I mean, thing to worry, or maybe you should know MicroStrategy only, you would be able to migrate from MicroStrategy to Power BI. No, that is not the case. No organization will ask you to learn MicroStrategy now. No organization will ask you to learn Click now. If they are legacy tools, they are using that legacy reports, you can easily go back and check the visuals. From the visuals, you can easily identify what is that report trying to signify. Any questions on this migration? And these are all migration projects. Migration projects. And migration projects, UI to UI is not similar. Keep one thing in mind. Whatever you see in MicroStrategy, it would be not completely same. Somewhere 80% or 90%, 90% is more. Somewhere 75 to 80% you can achieve in Power BI. Similarity I'm talking about. Data would be anyways, you will come, I mean, whatever logic you are writing for data, that can be similar. But the visuals, whatever visuals you have used in MicroStrategy may not be same in Power BI. So that you have to justify with the client that whatever you see in MicroStrategy, whatever you see in Tableau, that cannot be easily created in Power BI. Somewhere Power BI has its own behavior and Tableau has its own behavior, or MicroStrategy has its own behavior. And that is common. UI to UI is not similar in any BI tool. There would be slight changes. Some 20-25% change would be there. Any other question?
So, how about the comparison of Power BI with one of its major competitors like OBIE, like
Okay, so it's a
Oracle
new tool.
Business Intelligence?
Mhm.
There are some, I've seen like some large enterprises still using OBIE, even though they are using Power BI in, for some of their applications. So, in what cases they prefer OBIE? In what cases, they prefer Power BI? And what are the, my question is like, what are the circumstances they think about, for
See,
to choose which
how
tool is best for their
Okay,
application.
so how it goes is, see, you're talking about OBIE. See, there are few banks. I'm talking about uh, maybe Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
We have BOA, Bank of America. We have Citibank. See, these banks are all using OB. They have the Oracle software for their banking system also. They have the Oracle software for their ERP as well. And they have, I mean, in suit, they have purchased OB as well, where they are used for reporting purpose. So whenever, if you're working on any banking systems are so much secured that if they want to migrate from OB to Power BI also, okay, they will first, what they'll do, they'll first utilize the Power BI for the new requirement. If they feel everything is good, the new requirement would be completely in Power BI. Whereas legacy reports will always be in OB. It will take more time until and unless whenever their collaboration with Oracle is closed, they will maintain all these OB reports. That doesn't mean that they are creating the reports in OB. Only their legacy reports would be in OB. Their new reports will be completely in Power BI once they feel the Power BI is good to go. And as I've said, all three organizations have reports in OB as well as Power BI. I can take few more examples, but I know these three examples who have a collaboration with Oracle because they use Oracle for their supply chain, they use Oracle for their ERP, they use Oracle for their databases. So that's the reason they had a collaboration with Oracle for the business intelligence as well.
Okay, so it's only just because, I mean, it could be only because they have their data in Oracle. They might
Yeah.
be still using OBIE or Power BI lacking some features to support the legacy
No,
reports, or
it's
is
not
there
about
any?
lagging. It's not about
Uh-huh.
lagging. They have a collaboration with Oracle. They might have a
Mm-hmm.
collaboration for next 5 years, continuous 5 years. So for 5 years, their legacy reports would be in OB only, but their new
Okay.
reports would be generated in Power BI. So that's how it works.
Okay. And is there any any limitation for Power BI to handle the large data sets?
There is a limitation for every tool. I'm not talking only about Power BI. There is a
Mm-hmm.
limitation for a certain data. If the data goes beyond 50,000 rows, also sometimes it may not work. But as I've said, 50,000 is very low. I mean, I can load more than 50 million of data also, even that is possible. But how you're managing that, how you're aggregating that, that we would be discussing further. There are limitations
Um,
for every BI tool, not for only Power BI, every BI tool has limitation.
yeah, basically my question was like compared to Power BI, was there any limitation on the handling the large data sets compared to OBI? The reason why I'm asking this question is I worked on OBIE
Mm-hmm.
and also Power BI a little. So I'm actually looking to move towards Power BI now. I had
Okay.
this interview question once asked, why do, like we have both the tools in our company. What factors do we consider whether to some reports still we want to develop in OBIE and some still we want to develop in Power BI. So what are the factors we should consider? That was the question. So that's why I'm asking now.
Okay. Okay. So, see, in simple terms, if you
Mm,
want to answer this, for OBIE, if you face any issues,
mm.
and this is common, if you face any issues related to UI, maybe any charts or data issues, once the data is loaded, data management issues, you need to connect with Oracle team on daily basis. And this is common. I'm sure you might have connected if you
Yeah,
face.
no,
Yeah.
actually, they definitely need a technical expertise
Yep.
because as a they need us, like they need the Oracle
Mm.
BI developers to do that.
Mm.
Whereas in Power BI, even the clients, end users can do that. Like, some
In
cases
Power
they
BI,
can. Mm.
without any support from Microsoft, you can handle everything. That is one of the
Oh,
advantages.
okay. Mhm.
So you can explain it this way that OB is I mean, business intelligence tool accepted, but in order to use it, maybe if you are stuck somewhere, if you feel that it is not working as expected, you need to reach out to the Oracle product team which would help us that this is the ideal way to use the OB or somewhere. I mean, the steps they would follow and they'll give you some idea. In case of Power BI, it is so powerful and the UI is so easy that without any help, you can easily identify where you are stuck and you can maybe outcome of that. Uh, you can come back, you can check what the changes needs to be done. It's very easy. I mean, comparatively usefulness of Power BI with any tool. Tableau is also easy to use, but as compared to Power BI, it is still difficult. OB is way
Mm.
more difficult. MicroStrategy is way more difficult. ClickView as compared to Power BI, it is difficult. So these tools are very heavy tools. Yes, they are paid tools, but these are heavy and not that easy to go tools. If you have a good exposure, maybe you will feel that it's very easy to use. But once you start using Power BI as compared to OB, Power BI is way more powerful.
So there comes my next question following that. I always had this in my mind. So OBI, I know, like, definitely you need the technical expertise. Only, we only give the subject area, which is like the presentation layer, like what you're seeing on the Power BI right now.
Mhm.
You only see those columns that can be pulled into a report. So they won't see the back end, like the data model and the data, the basically the we call it like business model and the logical layer and the physical layer where we do all the
Hmm.
everything is done in RPD repository. So what I'm trying to say is it's not and it's not very end user friendly. So if they need any change in the report, they have to come back to the BI developer. So
Mhm.
there is a lot of dependency on the developers there. I know that's why the
Mhm.
clients end users are preferring Power BI because it's like they can just develop the reports on the go. But there comes, I know end users will benefit from there, from that point of view. But considering the developers,
Mhm.
so once you develop the data model and give the data set and the dashboards are up and dashboards or whatever as per the requirement, once you deliver it, there's like less dependency on the developer, right?
Mhm.
So um, I hope
Good that you are asking a question. So
yeah.
if anyone has a same question again, if you feel that everything can be done easily in Power BI, why can't a client is doing directly? Or maybe why will client will come back to us and ask us to create a Power BI report if he knows how easy this Power BI is? See, I'll take an example. Not every client is a technical client. Not
Mm,
every
yeah.
client is a technical client. I mean, he doesn't have idea about tools. Even if he has an idea, he'll have an idea about Excel. One disadvantage you can call it, Excel or Power BI is based out of Excel only. What you learn in Excel, similar things are available in Power BI. That is one of the disadvantage you can call. That's the only reason people know Power BI similar to Excel. But if a client is not technical client, usually that is the case. Clients are not all technical clients. These clients are all BAs, business analysts. They know how business works, but they'll never dig out in the technical aspects or technical, whatever tools we are using. So in case of DAX, 99% I'm sure client doesn't know what DAX formulas are. Okay, he knows that there is a concept called as DAX. You can write some formulas. But 99% of the times, as I've said, client doesn't write or know DAX formulas. It is the developer who has to write this. Now, coming down to data model. If you want to create a data model, your data needs to be clean. So that cleaning can be done in Power Query. Now, would you think that the client will go back and clean the data in the Power Query? As I've said again, 99% of the time, client will never open the Power Query window.
Yeah.
Now, prior to Power Query, also you can use some external ETL tools that has to be done by developer. It is the dev person only who will do all this process. Now, again, coming down to formulas. Business analyst know how business works. He also knows some basic formulas. But how to implement that formulas using Power Query or using DAX function, it has to be again developed. Only visuals is where we think that client can handle everything. But how do you create visuals? Once all these three steps are cleaned, all these three steps are available for the person or that client to create the visuals. Now, in terms of visuals also, see, visuals are these visuals which are available, or maybe some clients know that you can go back to get more visuals. You can click here. From the workplace, you can download additional or extra visuals. There is a visibility. But for these visuals also, there are few formulas. I mean, there are few format conditions. There is a concept called as field enablement. Now we would be discussing all this, or you can call it as field parameters. These are related to, I mean, you may feel that there is a parameter concept, but these are all related to visualization only. These components clients are rarely aware about. The high technicalities related to visuals also, only drag and drop a client can do. He can drag a visual, he can drag and drop any columns from the data set, he can do that. But nothing apart from that. He can filter some values here in the filter tab. Creating of bookmarks. There is a concept called as bookmark. There is a concept called as drill throughs. Would you think client will do all this? This is needs to be done by developer only. So what people think is, I mean, that's the common tendency, not from any individual point of perspective. It's a normal tendency. What a BI tool means, BI tool means only a visualization tool. No, that is not the case. Yes, it is visualization primary tool, but prior to that, you have to understand the data, clean the data, model the data, write formulas, do some further analysis, and then create visual. Visual is only 15 to 20% of any BI tool, and that visualization can be handled by client. Prior to that, 70%, 80% needs to be done by a developer. So need not worry. Any client you can, I mean, if the client is also very technical friendly, even that client will never ever manage to learn complete Power BI. If he's learning Power BI, he's not a client, he will work like a technical person. Assume that directly. They
Thank
know
you.
how Power BI works, but they'll never know what needs to be done in Power BI. So that all needs to be done by a developer only. Only from a
Mm,
visuals drag and drop perspective, client can handle it.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying.
So, sir, if we do this course, so we'll be able to crack the business analyst interviews.
No, business analyst is different, sir. I mean, you need to understand the business. This is not business analyst. This is more a kind of data analyst or BI analyst, not business.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, anyways, we almost spent 25, 30 minutes on that. Let's go back to the Power BI. We will continue the yesterday's discussion. Good that you people asked the question, because I mean, these are the common questions which every individual will have a doubt that whether if I learn Power BI, because Power BI is easy tool, easy to learn. If I learn this, how it would be useful for me for next 4 years or 5 years. See, taking everything into consideration, there are few updates in Power BI also. You will get a Copilot update here. Even if you get a Copilot, see, Copilot cannot handle everything. It can only handle visualization, not more than that. It can handle the color combination, formatting of a visual. But prior to that, everything needs to be done by a developer only. Now, coming back to the visuals, we kind of discussed bar chart and column chart, and we have seen the categorical data and the numerical data. Now, few important aspects. See, whenever you are hovering on the visual, we know what do you mean by focus mode. It would be coming to a larger picture. But apart from focus mode, there are few other entities also. What is this? See, what is this? This is nothing but a funnel-like icon. So this funnel-like icon filters and slicers affecting these visuals. See, whenever you are using any filter or whenever you are using any slicer is nothing but a visual which works like a filter. So whenever you are using any filter or slicer, this funnel-like icon, if you hover on this, it will give you an idea that there are few slicers or filters applied on this visual. Now I'll click on this visual. I'll go to fuel type. Maybe I'll change it to diesel. See, if I hover on this funnel, directly it is giving you an idea what this funnel is. This funnel is nothing but a filter. You can see in the filter tab also there is a funnel which is available. That same funnel is also available on each visual. So this will give you a better idea that whether that visual is being filtered or sliced by using any slicer or maybe by any filter condition. If there are multiple filter conditions also, if I drag and drop the seller type, I'm trying to take a seller type inside this visual. On this visual, I'm trying to apply a seller type filter. I'll change it to dealer. So if I hover on this filter, you can see how many filters have been applied. All that filters would be visible on this filter icon. So this is one of the advantage of hovering on this filter tab or maybe filter icon for that visual, which will give you an idea that if there are any filters or if there is anything which is being sliced on that specific visual. Now let me remove this. Let me clear this filter. Apart from this filter icon, apart from this focus mode, there are a few more options which are left in the more options. You'll get these three dots. Now these three dots are also very important. If I click on these three dots, see there are few options. One is remove. Remove means this visual would be removed or deleted. Straightforward. Now, what do you mean by spotlight? See, if I click on spotlight, all other visuals apart from this would be dimmed out. The visuals are grayed out, maybe that visuals are not highlighted. Only this visual is highlighted. That means a spotlight is given or spotlight is being focused on this visual, so that the other visuals will not disturb you, or maybe your focus would be on this visual only. That's it. It's straightforward. You can uncheck this option. The other visuals would be coming back again. Remove spotlight. Straightforward, easy. Now the first two options. See, the second option is show as a table. Whatever information you are visualizing here in the visual, this specific bar chart, that can be easily visualized in a table. If I click here, see, a table would be created below. What you can visualize here, that same thing can be visualized here in a table format. So this is a temporary view. This is not a permanent view. This is just a temporary view. If you click on back to report, it will come back to the visual mode again. Now, where do we use this show as a table? Just to make sure whatever information you are dragging to that visual, is it correctly working or not? Or if you want to check that information in a table manner. For understanding the data, if you want to check this visual in a table manner, you can easily use this option, show as a table. Now, this show as a table is also available in Power BI service. If you publish this report, if any user hovers on this visual, click on the more option. Again, now reiterating the question of client. Only if client knows the importance of this show as a table, my bad. So only if that person knows the importance of show as a table, he will come hover on this table. Only then he will click on the show as a table. 90% of the client doesn't know how to use or how to identify the visuals also sometimes. Their only focus is whether we are understanding the report or not. So if the report is easy to understand, they'll never ask you any question. So show as table, it is used by end users also, and it is used by developers as well. Now there is one more option, export data. What you show in a table, what you visualize in a table, this data can be exported as a Excel or a CSV file. See, it is asking me to export as a CSV file. Now, do you think that complete car data would be exported? No. Only data which is visualized in this visual, only this data, the data which you can see in this format, that would be exported in a CSV format, not the complete data set. Now, there are use cases. There are use cases. If you feel that only one visual is working fine, or maybe if you want to export the data from this visual only, not the complete data, because this visual is all cleaned, filtered data, you can export it. First thing is, prior exporting, you can always check it in a table manner that this is how it is looking. You can export this data in the CSV format. So these two options are utilized by end users as well as developers also in certain use cases. Now remove spotlight, we have already seen. The most important part of this more option is the sorting. Now what do you mean by sorting? See, sorting is different for different conditions. Sorting is different for different conditions. Okay, now a good question from Rajesh. Can we edit data in table view? This is only a visual. You cannot edit. See, I'm trying to click here. I cannot add anything. I'm trying to add. I cannot add anything. This is only visualization. What you visualize in this visual, that can be interpreted in a table format for only understanding purpose, not for editing, not for importing or managing this. It is only for understanding purpose. Now coming back, what do you mean by sorting? See, this sorting is available differently for different visuals. Now, if you see for this visual, if I go to the focus mode again, for this visual, only sort legend is there. For this specific visual, only sort by legend is there. Now, what is legend? Legend is nothing but fuel type. Now, if I go back, sort by legend, fuel type, I mean, there is no fuel type is nothing but CNG, diesel, and petrol. So C comes first, D comes second alphabetically, and P comes last. So if you want to sort by descending, petrol will come first, diesel will come second, and CNG will come last. Why? Because alphabetically, petrol is P is last and C is first. So alphabetically, you want to sort by ascending or sort by descending. Now this is ascending. So alphabetically, C will come first and P will come last. Now, why only sort by legend is available for this visual? Why not by year? Why not by x-axis? See, year is a numerical data. Year is a numerical data. I'll go back to the report. Rather than year, I'll remove this year. I'll take a car name. So this is categorical. X-axis is also categorical, number of cars. Legend is also categorical. So all three categorical data. All three are categorical, but x-axis is working like a numeric only because it is number of cars, count of cars, right? Now, if I click on more options, see there are two options. Sort by legend is there and sort by axis is also there. Whenever you take numerical data, in that case, sorting will not be available for any axis where the numerical data is present. Now you can sort by car name also. Car name. Already this information is sorted by car name. 800, Activa, A, B, C. Now if you want to sort by descending, sort axis, car name, descending. You can see alphabetically Y is last. I mean, in this data set, Y is coming last. There is no Z. There is no vehicle with Z name. So that is why alphabetically I've sorted by descending. Y is coming last. and then A is coming, or 800 is coming first. Now you can sort by number of cars sold also. Cars which are highest sold, that should come first. You can see Honda City is sold highest, so 20 is coming. Corolla Altis is second highest, Verna is third highest. So the cars which are sold frequently, that are coming at the topmost position, because I have sort by axis. Sort by which axis? Sort by x-axis. X-axis is number of cars. Sort by descending I've used. But if I remove this car name and if I'm trying to take year, only by legend it will come. Why? Because y-axis is also numerical data and x-axis is also numerical data. You cannot sort both numerical conditions. One has to be a categorical data only. In that case, you can easily sort by categorical axis as well as x and y, both. Car name is y-axis, number of cars is x-axis. So this sort by axis, and this is common for all the visuals. If I go to this, for a column sort also, you can see year is present in the x-axis. That's the reason only sort by legend is there. But if I remove year and if I take seller type, automatically that sort axis will come. Because one is category, one is numeric. So this sort by axis is also very important. In many use cases, sorting is usually done. In many use cases, sorting is usually done to make sure the information is correctly presented here. How do you want to sort? You want to sort by X, you want to sort by Y. Usually sorting by legend is not recommended. Rarely it is used, but sorting by axis is mostly used. By either of the axis. You want to sort alphabetically or you want to sort by number of cars sold or number of numeric data. So in that case, you can sort by X or Y axis depending on the requirement. Now I'll take a pause. Any questions on the more options which we have identified now? For all the visuals, you will get all these options. Any questions on these? Okay, if there are no questions.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead.
If by any chance, if we click remove, there is any other option to get it back?
If I remove this is removed. See what I'll do? I'll use Control plus Z.
Okay.
That visual will come back. Control Z is redo undo.
Yes, sir.
That's it. But it will only work for one of the use cases, not all the use cases. See,
Okay.
usually by mistake, remove option, it is clearly mentioned. So by mistake also, if you click that, Control Z at that instance only. Any other questions?
When I try to right click on my thing, I can see new visual calculation. What is that?
New visual calculation. That's the latest update, it seems.
Okay.
Are you on the laptop now? Okay, so can you share your screen? I'll give you the access, just a moment. Yeah, I've made you co-host. Can you share your screen? I'll stop sharing. Let's see, what is that update? Where, yeah, click on more options. Can you click on that?
So it is showing like this.
Yeah, so this new visual calculation is nothing but to write a DAX function. If you want to write a DAX function, depending on the data of that visual, you can write a DAX function directly.
Okay.
So yeah, so that we would be discussing further. What you write here directly, you can stop sharing. Maybe I'll again start sharing screen. Hmm, Just a moment.
Thank you.
So I'm sharing my screen again. See how to write a DAX formula. There are three ways. If you click on this data set or the data tab towards right, there is an option called as new measure, new column, new quick measure. These are all DAX formulas. Either you write it here or either you click on these options wherever you are getting that calculation. Both are same. So that is nothing but just a new update. As I've said, Power BI is updating on monthly basis. Every month you will get some or other update. It might be a silly update also, but they'll still give you some updates. That is how Power BI, that's how the Microsoft team is working. Now, we have seen the the first four important visuals of bar chart and column chart. Now, where do we use the other charts? What is the exact use case? We will see a few more charts today. Let me open.
Just one question, sir. So any reason for not having the ascending, descending on the numerical data?
See, so how Power BI assumes this? The numerical data is an aggregated data, right? Now, for this visual, I'll remove the car name. Maybe I'll take kilometers driven. So in the case of kilometers driven also, the numerical data is all aggregated data. What it assumes is numerical data is all aggregated data. So that's the reason it is not able to identify. See, if the year would have been date, if the year would have been date data type, the sorting would have been available. Year is a numeric condition here. Now, what
Okay.
I'll do, let me load a data. Let me load a new data where a date condition is present. Give me a moment. So I'll load this sample superstore. Inside this sample superstore, there is a date column which is present. Let me load this data. See, there is an order date. There is a shipment date. There are two dates. Let me click on OK. For a date condition, we have only seen numeric and varchar. We haven't seen date. Now I'll apply the change. Now for this specific data set, order date and shipment date are date, but you can see it is varchar only. Now if I go ahead, let me go to the Power View. Let me go back here. I'll copy this visual first. Paste it here. So in case of x-axis, I will take sales. In case of legend, I'll take segment. And in case of y-axis, I will take category. I'll start with this. So there are three different categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology. There are three different segments: consumer, corporate, and home office. And these are sum of sales. This is categorical data. This is numerical data. This is categorical data. The bar chart is the best fit. Clustered bar chart is the best fit. Now, in case of category, I will take a date type. Date. Now, there is a shipment date. Now, this shipment date, for every date, it is giving you a separate value. And the readability of this chart is not that great. We are unable to understand. Why? Because if I go to the Power Query, in the Power Query itself, the order date and shipment date are not the date conditions. These are varchar conditions. Now, there are two ways. You can go back to the table view. You can see here, sample superstore, order date. This is a text format condition. Can I change the data type to date? Let me try. I've changed it to date. Yes, it is working like a date. See, whenever I change it to date data type, you can see a drop down would be available and a date hierarchy will come into picture. Similarly, for shipment date, I will change from data type text to date. It is changed. Now, how do you want? You want day also, or maybe you want short date. You can take short date as well. Even this is correct. I'll go back here. I'll take short date. This name, that day, week, that everything is not required. Now you see order date and shipment date has the date conditions. I'll go back to the report view. Inside this report view, I have taken the shipment date, right? I'll remove the shipment date again. I'll again drag and drop the shipment date. Now you see for shipment date, year is there, quarter is there, month is there, day is there. So I'll remove other conditions. Month, day, I'll only keep year. See, only year is there. If I go to this more option, still I cannot see year. I mean, still I cannot view that option. Why? Because the information is already sorted. By each year, the information is already sorted. The latest year will coming first. It is coming first. The information is already sorted. Now I want to sort. I mean, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see whether I can sort it by again. Maybe I want to get the 2016 above and 2020 below. Is there an option?
No.
I'm trying to check whether there is an option or not. There is no option.
Okay.
Again, I'll go back. Let me try with order date. 2016. So there's no option. If you take date type also, date or date time related data type as well, the information is already sorted. So the latest year, see what Power BI assumes. Latest year should be always at the top because that is what is the previous condition. And the lowest, I mean the least year, the foremost year should be at the bottom condition. So the information is already sorted for this year. So for any numerical data, there is no possibility of sorting. Only for categorical data, by alphabetically, you can sort that. Or maybe if you want to sort, by sum of sales, I want to sort. By sum of sales, I want to sort. Let me try. I'll remove this legend. There is no option for sorting. Directly, there is no option. I mean, that is one limitation of Power BI. That's how Power BI works. There are few limitations. This limitation we have identified now. This is the very first limitation. If there is any numeric data, if there is any date or year related date time related aspect in the X or Y axis, the sort access is not available.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, anyways, we loaded this sample superstore. I've changed it to date time. Now, this column chart and bar chart, we have seen the use cases. I mean, where do we use that? How do we use that? Now, if you
Sorry.
want to, go ahead.
What if we sort the date in data and then go back? Instead of sorting in the visual, what if we sort the in data?
We can sort that.
So that we
Sort ascending, sort descending. See, default, any date information is already sorted. You can see. For your understanding, or maybe this view is only a temporary view. This is only a temporary view. If you click on any drop down, the information would always be sorted. You see 2016 is coming and then 2019 will come.
Okay.
Even if it is not sorted, you have an option sort by ascending. If you want by descending, you can sort by descending. See, 2019 will come first. So this is a data view. Data view has many other use cases also. We would be saying one after the other, but I have only changed the data type of that. And if you change the data type in the Power View, it would be only changed in the Power View. If I go back to the Power Query, the data type of the order date and shipment date is still varchar. Only in the front end Power View, the data type has been changed, not in the background Power Query. If I change data type here, there is a possibility I can change the data type in the Power Query also. How is it possible? If you click on this ABC, you will get an option called as date or date type. You can click on this date, the data type would be automatically changed, and this changed data type would be reflected here in the front end as well. So what you do in Power Query, that would be automatically available in the Power View. But what you do in Power View, it cannot be directly available or seen in the Power Query because Power Query is a backend only. Backend data would be available in front end, but front end data would not be always available in the backend. Because whatever changes you're doing in the front end, that is only for front end, only for visualization. That's it. Now let's say if you're working on, or maybe if you want to view data for the last few years trend, you want to see the trend. Now, where the trend informations are kept. Now, if you take an example of stock markets, stock market information, you can see somewhere stock market would be like this. There would be a bar. There would be some line or bar which is flowing. So that information is called as a free flowing trend. That information will give you from specific year, this year to this specific year, whether there is an increase or whether there is a decrease. So if there is a decrease, what is the decrease? So wherever you want to find the free flowing trend, that information can be reflected in a line chart. That information can be reflected in a line chart. Now, in case of line chart, what I'll do, already I have this bar chart. I'll only change it to line chart. Year sum of sales. Even this was giving us the result. But only when you take a legend, this clustered bar chart or any bar chart is more easy to identify. But if I go back to the line chart is giving you a trend that in 2016, the sales was low. 17, there was a slight increase. But in 2018, there is a drastic increase. And in 2019, there was a dip. There is a small dip. Now, this information is in millions. I want to format it. Go to format your visual. So where this information would be available, 2016, 17, 18 is the x-axis. But the sum of sales is the y-axis. So I have to open the y-axis. I have to go back to the values. Inside this values, there is an option called as display units. I want to keep it to none. None means every value would be reflected. None is looking not that great. I'll keep it to thousands. 464K, 471K, 829K, 733K. So wherever you want to find the trend of value, trend of a numerical data, whether it's an increasing trend or whether it's a decreasing trend, free flowing data, people end up using line charts. As compared to bar chart or column chart is used for any aggregated information or wherever you will have a legend information. If there is a partition, in that case, you can use a column chart or bar chart. But if you want to check the trend, increasing trend or decreasing trend, in that case, line chart is the best fit. So I want to check the trend of sales for each year, starting from 16 to 19. We have only from 4 years. So sum of sales for 4 years, this is an increasing or a decreasing trend, can be easily visualized in the line chart. But there is one limitation of this line chart, or maybe it is not a limitation. You can call it as a disadvantage, that in line chart, more amount of white space is there. See, if I use a line chart, this chart is looking very casual, but this chart is giving you a very interesting trend, upward or a decreasing trend. Now there is no effect for this chart. I'll go back to effects. There is a shadow, but it is bottom left. I'll keep it to right, or maybe bottom right. Maybe I'll keep it to right, top right. This is looking good. So for this visual, if I compress it somewhere, you will feel that there is more amount of white space here. Even though line chart is giving you better trend, there is more amount of white space here. Now, in order to remove that white space, or maybe in order to make you feel that there is no white space, or to make you a good color combination feel, next to line chart, there is a chart called as area chart. Now, if you compare both these charts, I'll take both the charts. First one is the line chart and second one is the area chart. So if you compare both these charts, most of the time people end up viewing the second chart because it is covering a blue color shaded area. It is covering a blue color shaded area as compared to line chart. Every chart has its use case. If a client feels that there is more amount of white space in the line chart, you can end up using an area chart. Both the charts have a similar use case. In order to check whether any numerical data is in increasing or a decreasing trend, upward or a downward trend for any specific year-wise information, in that case, you can end up using line charts. And keep one thing in mind, line charts in x-axis, most of the times date data type is used in x-axis. And there is one more advantage of using the line chart or area chart. What is it? If I click on this chart, there is x-axis, there is y-axis, and there is secondary y-axis. You will get two y-axis. How is it possible? If this is the chart, this is how the line chart will work. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. In case of line chart or area chart, you will get additional y-axis. This is the secondary y-axis. This is secondary y-axis. This is primary y-axis. This is anyways x-axis. This will be secondary y-axis. Now, what is the use case of secondary y-axis? I'll again go back. So from this sample superstore, I have sales and I also have profit. So I want to compare sales as well as profit for each year in one single view. In that case, in y-axis, I will take sum of sales and I'll take one more numerical data in the secondary y-axis. Now you see, I'll make it to focus mode. You have two axes. Axis towards left where sum of sales is mentioned, axis towards right where sum of profit is mentioned. Do not get confused with the axis. Primary y-axis will have values from 500K to 800K. Why? Because sum of sales is very high, whereas profit is not that high of sales. Profit is somewhere lower than that. So profit will always start from 50K and it will end up using 100K or 90K. So both the axes are available. You can compare both numerical data in one single chart. That is one of the advantage of using a line chart as compared to column chart or a bar chart. Both numerical data can be compared because we have advantage of having two axes, two y-axis. Now that similar chart can be represented in an area also. I'll take profit in the area chart as well, and I'll make it to focus mode. You can see sum of sales is light blue, sum of profit is the darker blue. Now you will have a question, is this a legend? No, this is not a legend. Legend is separately kept. For area chart and line chart also, there is a legend option. Can I take a legend? Let me take legend as segment. I'm trying to take a segment. Why that segment is not available? Keep one thing in mind. Whenever you are working on line chart or area chart, you can take three conditions at a time, not more than three conditions. Either X, Y, or secondary Y, or X, Y or legend. If there is no secondary y-axis, I'll remove this secondary y-axis and I'll take segment. Now you can see legend is available, but you cannot take secondary y-axis. If I take profit, it will not. So in case of area chart or maybe line chart, again, I'll go back to the line chart as well. In the line chart, I'm trying to take segment. Similarly, if I remove this profit and if I take segment, that segment would be available. This is how it is visible. So only 3 conditions at a time you can take in a line chart or call the area chart. X-axis, Y-axis is must. Either you take secondary Y-axis or either you take legend value. Not all 4 conditions are available. Now, what is the use case? As I've said, wherever you want to get the trend of numerical data, that is where we use line chart or area chart. Now, in case of line chart and area chart, there are multiple formatting options. If I click on this line chart, if I go to format your visual, maybe I'll make it big. Now, this is a line chart. In the format your visual, x-axis, y-axis, we have already seen. I mean, if you want to change the values, you can change the values, you can increase, maybe you can make the text bold. Now, legend is there. Just because we have used a legend, legend is coming. So if you want to change some formatting for the legend also, there is an option. See, how do you want to showcase this legend? At which place? You can select top center, top left. How do you want to showcase? By line, by marker, by line and marker both, or by marker circle. So how do you want to showcase? Match color line. See, if I uncheck this, somewhere the color lines, if you change ahead, the legend will not match. So this should be always kept on. So you have an option. If you come down, there is an option called as lines. So you can change your colors. Whatever color you want, you can change your colors. One of the biggest advantage of using line chart and area chart is you will get an option called as markers. By default, data labels are off. You can keep the data labels on. And how do you want to display the data label? There are few options you can display. You can add a background to it. You can make it bold also. So you can do all that formatting here. You can check all that formatting. Now, along with these data labels, one of the biggest advantages, you will get markers. What do you mean by marker? For every year, there is a pointer. See, if I hover on this year, there are pointers available. But only when you hover, that pointers are coming. That pointers are coming. If I make this marker on, automatically that pointers would be available. You can change the size of the markers also. You can increase the size. 9. Let us keep it to 5 only. What marker you want? You want square? Squares will come. You want diamond? Diamond will come. You want X? X will come. That cross symbol will come. So whatever markers you want, you can take that marker. You want triangle? Triangle will come. Usually circle or diamond or squares are used, not the triangle ones. So I'll keep it with circle. I'll increase the size. So you can make the markers bold in size as well. So this is more interesting. And whenever you hover on any year, a tooltip value is coming. See, whenever you're hovering this, whatever this black window is there, this black window is called as a tooltip window. For all the visuals, this tooltip is available. Default tooltip is available. So you can format the tooltip also. How to format that tooltip, we'll see it further. But for default, every visual, this tooltip values are available. Tooltip means an additional value which is coming in the black window, which is highlighting on whichever condition you have hovered on it. And similar goes with area chart as well. In area chart also, you will get that same option called as markers. Everything is same, including formatting option. Everything is same in line chart and area chart. So in area chart, you can use these markers to make sure pointers are easily visible. Now, along with this line chart, as I've said, we can use only 3 conditions at a time. Only 3 conditions, not all 4 conditions. We have seen line chart, we have seen area chart. There is one more condition called as stacked area chart. Now, what do you mean by stacked area chart? And what is the difference between area chart and the stacked area chart? I'll take a copy of this. This is our area chart towards left. I'll change this right area chart to the stacked area chart. Now, both the charts are next to each other. You can easily view what is the basic difference. See, in case of area chart, 0 is always starting from background. And these values are all overlapped. In case of area chart, the values are overlapped. So first thing is home office. Home office is overlapping corporate and corporate is overlapping consumer. So consumer is also starting from 0 here. Home office is also starting from 0 here. And corporate is also starting from 0 here. Whereas in case of stacked area chart, 0 for consumer is starting from here and it is ending here. After that, corporate is starting from here, 0 till here. So it is adding up the values. You take a look at the axis here. For the first condition, axis has crossed 400K, whereas here it is less than 300K. Why? Because in case of area chart, there is overlapping of values. Whereas in case of stacked area chart, there is no overlapping. One after the other values will add up. So consumer segment is ending at 266. After 266, corporate 0 will start and it will add up 128. So it is going somewhere around 400K. From that 400K, home office is starting as 0 and it is ending up at 470K. So the addition of values, the values are stacked one after the other. They are not overlapping. They are adding up each other. That is the difference between stacked area chart and the normal area chart. Now I'll take a pause. Any questions on the normal area chart and the stacked area chart? If you have any questions on it. This is the adding of values. This is overlapping of values. That's the only difference. Now for this, I'll go to the format, data labels, value, background color is 0 transparency. I'll make it some darker. Maybe I'll use a darker shade. This is for value, right? Oh, my bad. This should have been black only. For background, so you can do all the formatting which you want. Now the values are more interesting. So I can format it similar to the stacked area chart. Now, if you see the values or maybe the view of the chart is very easy to understand.
So can you explain this stacked area chart again?
Okay. See, what is the difference between normal area chart? This normal area chart, I'll take a
I'm
snip.
confused. I'm confused in this.
Okay.
Like when you see y-axis, on the left-hand side, it is 400K. And the orange line is showing 70K. how it's matching.
See, this is our normal area chart. So where our normal area chart, how is it working? How is it behaving? Here our zero will start, and consumer has maximum 266K. So it is ending 266K here. So this consumer segment is overlapped by corporate segment. Corporate segment zero is also starting from here. Assume that corporate segment is blue in color. So corporate segment is also starting zero here, and it is ending 128 here. So it is overlapping the consumer segment, this corporate segment. Whereas home office, for home office, I'll take green color, this home office. For home office also zero is starting here, and it is ending at here 70K. So all the zeros are starting from here only, and they are overlapping each other. Whereas if I take a snapshot of this stacked area chart, in case of stacked area chart, consumer, which will start in red, or maybe I'll take blue only, consumer, which is starting in blue, its zero is starting from here. What is the maximum value for consumer? It is 266K. So here it will end at 266. Once that is done, corporate segment is not overlapping consumer. Ideally, in the previous area chart, corporate was also starting from here, but corporate segment is starting from where the consumer segment has completed. Where the consumer segment has peaked, consumer segment has peaked at 266. From here, corporate segment is starting zero, and it is adding 128K. So 266 plus 128, it is adding. So somewhere it would be 14, 6, 8, 9, and 3. 394K, it is where it is peaking. So from there, it is 128K addition. Now, home office is not starting from here. Home office is starting where 394 is the addition of consumer and corporate. From there, the home office is starting. Home office is starting here from zero, and it is adding 70K more. So 394 plus 70K more. So somewhere it would be 474K.
So that means home office sum of sales is
Yes.
494
No.
in
Home
2016.
office is not 494. Home office is only 70K. Stacked area chart is adding that value. You might feel these are all addition of values. Ideally, it is 70K only. You can see it is 70K mentioned. It is only mentioned as 70K here. But it is adding up the values. Summation of values it is. Stacked area chart, it is stacking the summation. It is doing a summation of that values. There are few use cases where we end up using stacked area chart as compared to area chart. You want a summation of values, you can take this stacked area chart rather than overlapping of values.
So where can we use this type of chart?
There are limited use cases. First understand the difference. Then if you know the difference, if you want summation of values, you can end up using this chart, not overlapping of values. You want summation of all three segments, you can end up using this stacked area chart. But if you
So
want overlapping of values, go ahead.
between both of these charts, which one is used most?
Both charts are used depending on the use case. If you want summation, go with stacked area chart. If you don't want summation, overlapping of values, go with area chart. Every chart has its use case. Which one is frequently used? No, that there is no as such difference. Maybe I can give now. But for now, what you need to understand, stacked area chart is summing up the values. If you want summation of values, blindly go with stacked area chart. If you don't want summation of the values, you can go with normal area chart. Now there are few more charts. Apart from stacked area chart, there is a ribbon chart also. Ribbon chart also looks similar like area chart or line chart, but it is slightly different. It has some different use case. So we would be seeing all these charts in tomorrow's session. We have a combination of line as well as column. We have two charts, line and stacked column chart and line and clustered column chart. So you can use a combination of line as well as column chart, not bar chart, line and column chart. So within 2 days, you can see how many visuals we covered. First 4 and then 3 visuals. 7 visuals we have covered. So we would be covering all other visuals. It will take some more around 6-7 days to complete all the basic visuals. Then once it is done, we would be moving to the cleaning of data, Power Query component. Right? So today is the last session, last free session. If you are satisfied with what I'm teaching, you can go back and enroll for this. Now, few steps which I would be highlighting. You can always enroll from the website directly. Give me a moment. I'll try to log in from the website. Now you can always log in from our website. See, once you log into the website, as I've said, first 5 classes are free. So there would be a separate course for the paid preview. You can go to explore courses. In this explore courses, this is the free preview of first 5 classes. Once this is done, if you want to enroll for this course, go to paid sessions. Inside this paid sessions, there is this option, data analytics with Power BI and MS Fabric. You can click on it. Then, so there is an option. There are 2 ways. Either you can pay from the website directly. All the options are available: credit card, debit card, UPI, net banking, all the options are available. If you are stuck somewhere here, you can connect with our team. Both the numbers are available, contact numbers, or else you can visit our website. There you will get the WhatsApp ping also. You can ping them on the WhatsApp. If the team is not responding, probably they'll reach out to you in next 30 minutes or 1 hour, but they'll definitely reach out to you. You can directly make a payment. They will share the UPI code or they'll share the banking details. Once you make a payment, this course would be automatically added to your email ID login. So there are 2 options, either from backend or either from the website. Now, once you click on buy now, see, it would navigate you to the payment gateway link. Now, as I've said, there are options. If you pay one time, it would be 27K. So a coupon code would be given to you. In order to get that coupon code, you need to contact our team. They'll share you the coupon code, or else what they'll ask you to make a payment to the specific number or a UPI code. Once that payment is done, this course would be automatically added. So there are 2 options here also. You can make 3 installments. You can make 2 installments. For all the installments, see, there is a coupon code available. Need not worry. So a coupon code would be shared to you. Depending on that, you will get a discount. For one-time payment, 27. For 2-time payment, 14, 14, 28. For 3-time payment, it is 30, 10, 10, 10. So you can utilize this. If you feel that the team is not responding your call or ping, wait for next 30 minutes or 1 hour. Definitely our team will reach out to you. there are huge number of volumes which calls or maybe pings are receiving, because there are simultaneously 3 or 4 more courses which have started in last 1 or 2 weeks. So you might feel that the team is not responding within 30 minutes or 1 hour, but definitely our team will reach out to you. So you can utilize both the options either from a website, or else you can directly contact our team and they'll share the bank details for the payments. Anything related to payment, you want to pay certain amount, I only have certain amount at this time, I would pay tomorrow, I would pay day after tomorrow, you can always connect with the team. I'm not the right person related to payments. Anything related to technical aspects, I'm the right person. Once you are enrolled for this course, you would be added to a already existing WhatsApp group, which was created for the SQL batch. So we are continuing that same SQL batch. We have around 50 folks. So 50 plus whatever addition we would be getting for this Power BI. So you would all be part of that WhatsApp group. You can ask me questions there. I would be able to answer all your questions there. Next, after 1 week or after 7 or 8 days, you would be shared with your KSR email IDs. So that email IDs can be utilized for your Power BI login, Power BI Pro or Premium logins. Any questions up till now related to your technical, related to about your course? As I've said, this course is for 3 months or maybe 4 months rather, including SQL. If you learn SQL simultaneously, it would be 3 months only. But if you want to learn SQL separately, it would be 4 months. 8 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Any questions? I'm open for the questions.
Sir,
Here is
I
yeah.
have a question. So, in yesterday's session, you mentioned that you've already completed the SQL for this batch, and we have several options whether we can attend the after 3 months or we can do it simultaneously. So, but
Okay.
what would you suggest? Which would be the best thing? To go through SQL simultaneously, or
Okay. See, what
we
I would
can
suggest,
attend? Yeah.
as I've said, there are 3 options open. So you utilize all 3 options. Take recordings, take previous recordings or this recordings which were done in the last month. So last week I've completed SQL, last to last week rather. So you can take all that recordings, you can go through recordings. If you're not satisfied, check with KSR team that if there is any SQL batch going on simultaneously, you can attend that SQL batch if you have a time, if that time is feasible for you. If that time is not feasible, the last option left out is third, which is SQL batch. I would be starting after 3 months. So it is up to individual. If you are able to understand from recordings, well and good. If you are able to understand and still if you want to attend the SQL, even that is possible. It all depends on the individual. It is your choice.
So during the 3 months course of this Power BI, anything related to SQL that you would, teach, we will still understand if we don't go through SQL in these 3 months, right?
I would make sure that you will be able to understand even if you don't have a SQL knowledge.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, how many sequels classes are there in the recording?
Okay, so we have 23 sessions. 23 sessions for this batch. Usually 22 to 24 sessions. In between 22, 23, 24. Somewhere that number is constant. For Power BI, see, I'll simplify it for you. For SQL, it would be 22 to 24 sessions. For Power BI, it varies from batch to batch because it all depends on the batch, how you people are understanding. It varies from 35 to 40. Plus minus 5, no, not less than 35, not more than 40. Anything between 35 to 40. And Azure, again, same 22 sessions. Perfect 22, it might be 22 to 24 also. So this is how the course is developed. SQL 22 to 24, Power BI 35 to 40, Azure again 22 to 24 sessions. Now, Dilip has a question
Will
that
there
I'm
be
trying.
hello?
Just a moment, just a moment. Yeah, Manish, just a moment. So Dilip has a question that if I move from, I mean, I understand the question, but okay, if I'm moving my career to this data field, is SQL recordings enough? See, now, anyways, we have started with Power BI. You people might have missed the SQL sessions when we started back in October, October, start of October. We have started with the SQL sessions at the start of October. So 1 month back, not more than 1 month, 1 month back. And this Diwali week was almost a holiday week. Last week, we've started with free sessions of Power BI. So by chance, you might have missed SQL. See, it all depends how you are practicing. 20, 22 sessions or 24 sessions are enough to give you a better understanding of SQL, but you need to practice. You need to practice SQL. Only then you can remember what you have done in the SQL. If you're not practicing, you might forget whatever you have learned in SQL after 10 or 15 days. Not more than even 10, 15 days or more. Within 1 week also you can forget. But you need to practice. I've shown you everything, how to install also, that every step is mentioned in the SQL. Unless and until you practice. See, for Power BI, if you're not practicing Power BI for 10 days also, it is okay. For next 10 days, if you put your complete concentration on whatever explanation I'm doing for next 10 days on the visualization part, it's okay. You can practice all these charts in one single day also. Maybe you can utilize one single weekend. But for SQL, that is not the case. Every day you have to practice. So that is the reason we have given three options. If you're not satisfied with recordings, attend simultaneous batch. But that batch has to be in time with your whatever availability you are. If that is not the case, the last option is you would be added to the last batch. Last batch means the next batch. Manish, you have a question. Go ahead.
Sir, apart from this, will there be any resume building sessions?
Okay. So next Sunday, the coming Sunday, we will have a session on LinkedIn preparation, LinkedIn account preparation. There would be a session on resume building. There would be a session on domain. What kind of domain? Domain preparation. How do you answer questions related to any specific domain? Maybe healthcare domain, maybe retail domain, maybe cloud domain. There are multiple domains. There would be a session on agile project management. Now, anyways, we would be starting with Power BI. We will have an ample amount of crowd. So I would start these sessions. For SQL batch also, I've explained them. But until now, I haven't taken a single session. There was a LinkedIn account preparation session. It was public session. Anyone from YouTube also, you can attend that. I mean, anyone who are not a part of KSR batch, who are not enrolled to KSR courses also, there are few sessions which are open for everyone. It's like resume building, LinkedIn sessions. These are open for everyone. So these sessions would be anyways available. Apart from that, domain session, it's only available for the people who have enrolled. Agile project management. I would be covering this post Power BI so that you will get a good idea how a project works in any organization. Agile is very, very important. Agile project management nowadays. So I would be covering all this. So I have a question from Dinesh. There are few openings where they are asking advanced Excel. For Power BI, advanced Excel is very limited. What I feel is, if you know good amount of Power BI, take one thing as advantage. If you're enrolling for this course, you would be given advanced Excel recordings. There are recordings for this advanced Excel free of cost. Now, you need to connect with our KSR team. They will add it to your bucket, to your courses. So this advantage we have given. If you are enrolling for this Power BI, you would be given advanced Excel recordings free of cost. But you need to connect. This is not publicly given everyone. If you need this, you can connect with our team. You can contact them that this is my a part of this October-November batch for Power BI. So I want advanced Excel added to my bucket. So you need to mention your name and your email ID. They would add it in the background. So that advantage we have.
Sir, what all certificates will be given in the end of the course?
Certificates are not given. You need to attempt that certification. Which certifications would be best fit after enrolling or once this course is done? You can start with AZ 900. This is Azure Fundamentals. I would be sharing dumps. You can attempt PL 300, the Power BI certification. And there is a certification for DP 600, which is for Fabric. So this Fabric certification is, I mean, I would not recommend now, but if you feel you want to attempt this certification, I would definitely help you with the dumps and what would be the process. But the other two, I would help you out directly because these two dumps, anyways, I would be sharing for all the batches. But this is a new certification. This certification is of as such no use as of now because Fabric is not completely available. It will take some time. But yeah, you can utilize it. You can go back and check. Maybe I'll share you a few dumps also. I'll give you some help as well. So how to attempt this? Now you're
Sir,
not taking any
we
live
have to
session
do
for
this
Excel.
certification.
Yeah, Manish, go ahead.
So we have to do this certification at the end of the course, or we can do like
End of the
now
course. I would
itself.
not recommend in between because if you don't know Power BI, not even end of the course, you can attempt AZ 900 after 1 month. After 1 month of completing Power BI. PL 300, you can attempt after 45 days, not within 30 days, maybe after 1 month only again. I would not recommend you to give exactly after completing the course. Once you have a
Why,
good
sir?
idea about Power BI, then only try attempting this certification. Excel live sessions are not there. Ma'am, there is no batch for any Excel now. All the sessions are recorded. For how many days recording would be available? Default recordings are available for everyone for 1 year. If you still want to extend post 1 year, you can connect with our team. Our team will extend. Why we have kept a restriction for 1 year? We assume that within 1 year, you should be landing a good job. You should be landing into a good job. That's the reason we have kept it to 1 year. Now, okay, Devi, we were not teaching any Excel. You can check any course. You might go back and check data science, data engineering. Excel is not a part of any course. Advanced Excel or any Excel related aspects are all covered in recordings only. These are all pre-recorded sessions. For hands-on, will you give any task? Yes, we have only started with basics. For SQL batch, I've given many tasks, maybe many data sets and questions for practice. Similarly, it would be given for Power BI. So need not worry. We would be covering some projects as well. As I've said, 3 projects we would be covering. That would be taken care. Lakshmikant has a question. Do you have any sessions? Do we have sessions on Python? For this course, there is no Python. For data science and data engineering, we have a Python, not for Power BI. Yes, there would be a dedicated resume preparation for each and every individual. I am not the person who would be helping you to create individual resumes. I can give you some suggestions. You can create your resume. You can share your resume with the KSR team. You can connect with them. You can share your resume on WhatsApp. Our dedicated team will go through that resume. If anything needs to be updated individually, they will call you. They will help you how to update it. Individual resume preparation, yes, it is there. Will you be helping on resume preparation with respect to US jobs? Yes. Any resume with respect to Indian market, US market, our team will help you out. Yogesh has posted a chat. Which visual is the best fit for this type of information? Say there is a visual called as decomposition tree here. You can use this visual. But this decomposition tree, the information needs to have a dependency. This is not a visual. This is not a visual. This is just a timeline of information.
Yes. But suppose in case of whichever fall
You
under
cannot.
that month.
You cannot. Because January, February, if the information is dependent, in that case, you can use a decomposition tree. It will look similar. But there has to be dependency of information. In January, you should have these names. In February, you should have these names. If that data is present in this manner, yes, you can utilize the decomposition tree.
Okay. Thank
you. Any other question? Interview questions, it's common. I would be sharing on day-to-day basis. Wherever I see, I'll give you an instruction. Until today also, I've given you an instruction while working, while giving you an explanation about connectivity modes, while giving you an explanation about where to use what kind of visual. So somewhere, wherever I feel the interview question can be asked, I'll highlight you that this is where the interview question can be asked. On the filters also I've given you an idea, interview questions can be asked. So as and when required, interview questions I would be highlighting. You would be shared with PDFs, multiple PDFs would be shared for interview questions. There are multiple PDFs with respect to interview questions. So you need not worry on that part. Any other questions related to this course? See, if you have any random question, also a silly question, okay to answer. Come on, any other question? Okay, if you are not, maybe if you have questions and if you don't want to ask in public, you can connect with our team. Mahesh is the right person. He will definitely guide you. He'll definitely help you. You can ask in person also. So if you feel that the question is not being able to ask in public, you can definitely reach out to them. Now, any notes would be shared. The notes which I'm writing, that would be shared with you on weekly basis on Friday. Every Friday, I would be sharing. Same I have followed for SQL. If you see, this is all the SQL notes which I've written. So same I have followed for all the SQLs. So I would be following same for Power BI as well. I would be sharing all the notes on weekly basis on Friday. Every Friday. Any other question? Any question? Anywhere you're stuck? I'll take one more minute. If there are no questions, maybe we can wind up. So we would be continuing with what we discussed. We'll be continuing with the further charts, the ribbon chart, the clustered and stacked line chart and column chart we would be covering tomorrow. Right? Any coupons for PL 300? See, we may not guarantee you. There were few coupons which were shared earlier for few batches. But at that time, we had a collaboration in the sense, Microsoft, Microsoft people itself were freely distributing that coupons, but you need to follow certain rules. Nowadays, that free coupons are not working. We will try our best. If any coupons can be given from my end or maybe KSR sent, we'll try our best, but will not guarantee. So assuming that there are no further questions, yes, you would be getting PDFs related to SQL and Power BI. As I've said, interview questions, some notes, I would be sharing some reference books, everything you would be getting. Okay, assuming that there are no questions, I'm closing for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. You can connect with our team. You can ping our team on WhatsApp. They'll definitely reach out to you if they are not able to pick up your call now. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day. Let's connect back tomorrow. Yep. Thank you.